Alright, so in this video I'm going to tell you exactly what is ethical marketing, how to apply it, and what's the only way to look at marketing to win in the long term. Ethical marketing is a process through which companies generate customer interest in product, build strong relationship, and create value for all stakeholders by incorporating social and environmental considerations in products and promotions. Cool. To me, ethical marketing is a way to look at your marketing campaigns. So it's like, how is it going to work in the long term? How are you going to actually, build a campaign that's going to build a relationship and make it stronger with your customers and not betray the trust? So it's like, people are actually putting a lot of trust and confidence into you when they purchase your product or service. And it's like, how are you actually going to, build that trust, take it, and, cultivate it to somewhere where in the long term you're going to win. Not this like short-term marketing tricks, this little tactics to make a sale here and there. It's like actually in the long term how this is going to pan out. And again, it's the only way to look at marketing in my opinion, because in the long run that's the only thing that works. So don't get me wrong, there's still a lot of tactics that you need to implement in your marketing campaigns for it to really work at all and to bring some of the results. But it's not about this like feel-good, being nice kind of marketing.
Oh, I'm so ethical. I'm making the world a better place. Positivity. I'm saving the planet.
Are you proud of me, Mom? Example of this is, and this is something that not many people will talk about, but it is part of marketing. But it's things like, appealing to people's lowest desire. So, we have like different types of desire. The highest one can be something like, motivating people, inspiring people. But, the lowest one can be something very selfish, very self-centered. And unfortunately, this is what you have to implement in your campaign and appeal to these lower desires. It's not to judge anyone because obviously, as I said, we all have these different levels of desires. But most of the time when someone buys a product, it's going to be from that lowest level of desire. It's going to be like a bit selfish. It's going to be, what the person they want to be. It's not going to be making the world a better place. It's not going to be saving the dolphins. It's going to be this like selfish, self-centered kind of thoughts when they're buying a product or a service. And there's nothing wrong about this. I'm not trying to judge anyone here. What I'm saying is you have to be aware of this when you do your marketing. And the way to think of this and not feel too shitty about yourself when you do this is to think that your product, if you're bringing the value to people, then it's totally fine to appeal to the lowest desire. And hopefully, with time and with you helping them with that product, they might get into this higher desire that hopefully does make the world a better place and does actually hopefully improve their lives. So I'm going to give you some practical example, but if you don't mind, I'm going to sit down because I'm getting tired. Okay. So one interesting example of ethical marketing is the case of retargeting campaigns. So again, very specific here, but for those of you that don't know what retargeting is, so when you run an ad, maybe on Facebook, on AdWords, or whatever it is, someone lands on your website, for example, they're going to get a cookie that's going to allow you to re-advertise to them later on. So they've already been to your website, and this is powerful because obviously if they've been to your website or wherever you sent them, they're going to be a warmer lead than someone that never actually came to your website, never actually cared about your content. So that's retargeting in a nutshell. So this retargeting as an ethical marketer is all about adding a lot more context around that second ad. So they've been to your website and let's say that they didn't purchase. Don't reuse the same fucking ad. Like that didn't work, obviously. That got them to the landing page, but something there didn't talk to them the way they wanted to be talked to actually purchase something. So in the retargeting ad, use something relevant in that context. Use a different angle, use, highlight your USPs, use a video, try images, try different things, but don't try the first thing that didn't work in the first place. And again, make it more relevant this time to that particular person that's already been on the website. So you know what they've been through, you know their experience up until now. And so keep that in mind when you do your retargeting as an ethical marketer. Also be aware of the frequency. So the reason why people get annoyed with retargeting is because they see the same fucking thing over and over again. So in terms of actual tactic for marketers, this is when your audience is too small and your budget is too big for that audience. For example, Facebook, if you have a small audience and a big budget, it's just gonna show that ad a million times to this small audience because that's the only people you ask Facebook to show this ad to. And I think that's what really gets people pissed with retargeting. It's not necessarily just seeing the ad, but it's like seeing the same ad too frequently. And as a marketer, that's because you're making that mistake of having a too big of a budget for too small of an audience. So the last thing I want to touch on in this video is that in this world of infinite data, you have no excuse as a marketer not to be relevant. You have no excuse to not custom your message to the person where they are at and how they want to be talked to. You have more information about people buying your product and people not buying your product yet than any time in history. So you have no excuse to be spamming people. You have no excuse not to be relevant and not do this in the long term the right way.